How do you get to that point of not caring what other people think?
Every single person that I talked to about it said, this is never going to happen. And if it does happen, you're the really wrong person to do it.
If I would give you money, how would you build a company? And I looked at him and I said, to be very honest, I have absolutely no idea. What I can tell you though is that
So you said the barbecues were like the test kitchen for you, but like, how did you settle on like, I can build a whole empire around this one main dish?
I mean, so culinary arts made me understand spices and just how things pair and how things work. But then it's just like, I don't know. It's like I had a moment where I was just like, wait. So, because when I started playing with the rules, I'm like, wait. So if because a roux is like a cheese sauce, right? Bechamel or whatever. But like, it's like you can take a roux, it's a sauce, so you can add different things to it, and it changes. And I just started playing around with it. You know what I mean? And it was just like, and then I would, like I said, I would just throw it out there and test it out, and it just worked.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if I told you that, like, you know, that was like I had this master plan, and I'd be lying to you. Like, it just kind of naturally evolved into what it turned into. And then it was just, we tried a bunch of different things. Some things stuck, some things didn't. But, that's the thing with me. Like, I'm not afraid to do something and fail. Like, I'm not afraid to, like me and Rosie back there was just talking about like the comfort zone. And that's the thing, like a lot of people, they just get caught in this comfort zone and they just feel so safe there that they're scared to step outside of that. But outside of the comfort zone is where the magic happens.
Right.
You just got to be able to try things and not be afraid to try things. And it might work or might not. But if you don't take that shot, you're 100% going to miss that shot.
Where does that fearlessness come from? Because this is...
I'm from Brooklyn, though. I don't know. I definitely got something to do with where I came from and how I was raised. But I've always been the underdog. I've always been told no more than I've been told yes. And, I've just been through things in my life where it's just, I gotta figure it out. But, a lot of things there was times in my life where it was really like, what do you have to lose other than trying? Like the most they can say is no. Right. And so that's just something that's just stuck with me. Like, I managed Pitbull at a time where I had a white Cuban rapper from down south that was comfortable speaking in Spanish on records when none of that was popping. New York was, like if you wasn't playing on High 97 in New York, if you ain't had something, like none of that was working. Yeah. But I saw something in him that, not like Luke saw it, like, but not many people saw what I saw. Like I'd be moving around with him, like you don't see what I'm seeing.
Yeah. What is it that you saw?
I just. I don't even know if it was something that I saw. It was something more that I felt. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I was on the road with him with Luke when we used to be, because Pitt can really rap. Mm-hmm. Like he just figured out the formula of how to make songs. He just started going that route because he started making more money doing that. But like I used to be with Pitt and we jump off the bus in Maryland or jump off the bus in Virginia and he jumping on the block freestyling with dudes. Like Luke found him because he battled Dragon on a Rough Riders video shoot. So he could really rap. But it's that like seeing something in somebody and then like for instance, it's so many people didn't believe in Pitt, but I saw what it was. And then it's like when I spin the block and I come back around and now all these dudes that didn't believe and now you believe. Now you see what I'm seeing. Same thing with A$AP Rocky. I remember coming out here going to Stevie J at Live and I'm like, yo, I got this kid, A$AP Rocky. Yeah. Nobody believed until he showed up on the VMAs with Rihanna. Then it's like, oh, yo, can you get through for my birthday party? You know what I mean? It's just, so I'm just used to psychologically, that's just something with people that like, people don't believe until you show them. Yeah. And so that's when I step out and I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna shoot my shot, whether you believe or not. I'm used to people not believing. I'm gonna show you. And so that's kind of where it came from with this.
How do you keep going mentally when so many people don't believe, right? Because people always throw out like entrepreneurs, you got to get to 100 no's to a yes. But I'm like, once you get to the 5th or 6th no, it really starts to wane on you. Or when you just have this vision and it's so clear for you and you're just like, why can't other people see it the way that I see it? Yeah. Like, how do you keep going in the midst of disbelief from everyone else?
I think that's the magic in it. I think that's kind of like what sets people, like most successful people, when you hear their stories, like, it's like they're successful because they kept going. Like, everybody meets some type of resistance in some form or another. But the most of the success stories that you hear is like, man, I was sleeping. You hear Tyler Perry. I was sleeping in my car. I was do that all. He could have gave up. He could have been like, I can't take it no more. But he kept going, and he broke that barrier. So like, I just try to study the greats before me. Like I said, most of the people, like even most of the guys that I work with music, like I talk about this. Pitt, like Pitt was like, the Spanish people thought he was too urban, and then the urban people thought he was too Spanish. So when we would go to BET, they like, yo, his pants is too tight. He ain't blah blah blah. And when we go to Telemundo, they like he's not speaking enough Spanish on records. So we had to literally create a lane, but we could have tapped out and be like, yo, this ain't working. But we kept going, and then you started seeing the magic happen, and then the magic happened, and it was like all those people circle back. Now, come host my show. Hey, come, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, I think because I've been a part of so many things that like, I just know that that's just a part of the process. And you just got to just push through that. And if you believe in it, you got to put the kind of energy in the universe that I'm not taking no for an answer. So it's like, you might hear me now, you might hear me later, but you're going to hear me. I'm not laying down. So it is what it is. You're going to see me. And so that's just my attitude towards life. And that's, whether it's getting through the pandemic, whether it's getting through whatever, like that's, that's what keeps me going.
Talk us through getting the restaurant open and like some of the impact that it has had.
Okay, thank you. Well, I will definitely tell you that it seems very simple. I literally just created the thing that I wished existed. And at the time, it was so controversial. And every single person that I talked to about it said, this is never gonna happen. And if it does happen, you're the really wrong person to do it. Woman of color, married to a professional athlete, 5 kids, one of them who has a serious medical condition. Baby, you are not her. This isn't gonna work. The average restaurant is out of business in 3 months. And then 99% of restaurants are out of business in a year. And the 1% of 1% that makes it past a year are out in 3 years, and forget it after that. It doesn't even happen. And I just really believed, it's the audacity of the belief in yourself, in God, in your ability, in not even caring, but just saying, I need this. So even if I'm the only person that shows up, I know I need this. And yes, I hope I'm solving a lot of other people's problems as well. But like, I can't get out of a car. I need a drive-through window. Like, this seems so obvious. It seems so obvious. And so I just threw caution to the wind and just did it. And I kind of do everything with reckless abandon. It's like, if I want to do it, I want to be a singer, I'm going to do it. If I want to be a songwriter, I'm going to do it. If I want to be an actor, I'm doing it. If I want to write a TV show, do it. If I want to executive produce a TV show, I'm doing it. And I don't know, I think like not caring what other people think about you is a superpower. Yeah. We actually had a racist person that lived in the building where we were operating out of that would stand outside of our venue and verbally assault our guests with racial slurs because they did not want a Black female-owned business in the building. And, I'm a fighter. It's like I've never kind of like met a fight I didn't like. But this was so exhausting. And I'm not a litigious person. And I just felt like, what am I getting out of this? Like, I'm literally every day, this is taking my personal power. It's taking my energy that I could be pouring into my franchise business or my new meal plan subscription delivery service business, Lunchology, that I purchased from a friend, or my new, comfort food menu, Grown Southern, that I built with Chef Richard Ingraham and Soleil Rodriguez. Like, there's so many great things I have going on in my life. Fighting this racist motherfucker is just not what it's gonna be for me.
Yeah. How do you get someone that you recently met to introduce you to an investor?
Yeah, it was really interesting. He said to me, I'm gonna help you, but only if you make me an advisor. I am like, I don't know what that is. He said, I get equity in your company. I'm like, I don't have a company. He's like, we'll figure that one out. Yeah. Once you have it, I want equity in your company. I was like, you can have as much equity as you want. I don't have anything. I don't have any money. I don't have a company. Feel free to take as much as you want. He was like, that's not what you should ever offer someone, but I appreciate it. I was like, how much do I offer someone? He's like, that's not something you should be asking your advisor. That's something you should be asking your attorney. I'm like, I don't have money for an attorney. He said, that's what deferred fees are for. I'm like, what are deferred fees? So basically, I had a crash course in entrepreneurship. He said, you know what? I'm going to do one test with you. I'm going to introduce you to an investor that says no to almost all investors, to almost all entrepreneurs. My gut feeling tells me he's going to see something in you that I see in you. And if you pass that test, I'm going to help you get a law firm that gives you deferred fees. I'm going to help you create the company. I'm going to take equity as your advisor. And I will advise you how to build that company. And I said, deal. So I had this meeting with this investor. I was so blissfully unaware. I mean, I didn't have a pitch deck. I also didn't know what a pitch deck was at that point. So I showed up at the meeting, and he asked me, how much money have you raised so far? And I said, 0. And he said, why haven't you raised a friends and family round at least to get this off the ground, to get like, an MVP? And I said, of what? Of tacos? And he just looked at me, and I could tell that he has never had a conversation with someone like me. And I'm like, boy, I don't know where to begin with, but there is absolutely no money here where anyone could invest a family and friends round in me. He, I think till this day, that the thing that convinced him was that he asked me, if I would give you money, how would you build a company? And I looked at him and I said, to be very honest, I have absolutely no idea. I have no idea. What I can tell you, though, is that I will solve this problem until there is some kind of solution. I am not going to give up. That's the one thing I can promise you. How? I don't know. And, we had this hour-long conversation, and in the end, he said, I'm going to give you $50,000 right now, and if you come back in 3 months, and you reach the milestones that you and I are going to agree on right now, I will help you raise more money. So I said, okay, what are the milestones? He said, what do you think you're able to do in 3 months? And I was like, I can build an app. I'm going to do all of these things. And I walked outside. I had to open my bank account real quick, cashed the check in. And then I built the company, or the first MVP, within 2 months. So I came back to him and I said, well, we said 3 months. It's only been 2 months. So now I want you to give me a better valuation. And in fact, I want you to lead my round. And he's like, you have gotten extremely cocky for someone who didn't even know what a startup was 2 months ago. And I was like, that's the only way that we're going to change things. And so he ended up leading the round, writing me, I think, 8 more checks. And that's how I was able to start the first company and hire my team.
There's what the old saying, the customer's always right? Or the community person is always right, or the follower is always right. How do you get to that point where you can discern between, all right, this is someone I should listen to, or like I fully understand who I'm building this for, who I'm communicating to, and I can ignore this? Because sometimes it can be a really fine line.
It is, and sometimes it's just noise. That's what I had to tell myself at some point, that some things are noise that are thrown in your way to distract you from your larger goals down the line. When I first launched my fragrance, we launched a bigger size, so we relaunched a smaller size, but we launched a big size bottle that was 100 mLs. This is the standard large bottle that you can buy at any department store. We personally went through one of the top perfumers in the industry to make the fragrance. He's responsible for some of the most popular niche fragrances that a lot of people own. The Dior's, the Francis Kurkdjians, he's working in that same capacity. We manufactured everything in France. And it was also an extrait, which means it has a higher perfume concentration. I knew how much money we spent into this project. And in my team's opinion, our perfume was priced fairly at market price. And when we launched, oh my gosh, there were so many people that said, this is so expensive. Who do you think you are? You are not Gucci. You are not Francis Kurkdjian. You're not Baccarat Rouge 550. Why would you launch a perfume this expensive? And it did start to get in my head that, maybe I was too ambitious with this type of project. But then I remembered about a month and a half into my journey with launching this fragrance, I met Mr. Parfum de Marly, the guy that owns the brand that I'm sure most people are very familiar with if you love fragrance. These perfumes are starting at $300. And he smelled my fragrance and said, oh my gosh, not me having competition. He said, are you sold in this store? I said, not yet. He said, okay. I'm just making sure. He said, no, this is so amazing. Like, this is a beautiful fragrance. He congratulated me and said, I'm looking forward to seeing what else you do. And I thought to myself, this man sees me as a peer and not as someone like that he would look down on. Like, oh, nice job. Like, no, you truly see me as someone who's creating a product that's comparable to your own. And no one has ever questioned Mr. Parfums de Marly from France about the price of his products. When I had that meeting, it was like a light just went off for me that even though your audience will, like, you won't reach everybody, but sometimes you don't have to reach everybody. Mercedes-Benz understands that the people they market to are the people that are going to buy Mercedes-Benz, and the people that want to buy Hyundai are going to buy Hyundai. And both places are going to get you point A to point B, but each market understands who their audience is, and they are fine with it.
What does success look like for you with your brand?
Man, that's a really interesting question because I think about it so much. It really is shape shifts, but ultimately what it comes down to is inclusion and seeing like the bigger picture with how Black people can find a way into the space, whether it is with like a budget brand. It could be a fragrance line that's sold at Target. It could be a fragrance line that's sold in the most exclusive, boutiques at Harrods, But how is it that we can be in these spaces and have the same level of respect as our peers and kind of breaking through that ceiling of this idea that only European fragrance brands, are to be respected. It always comes down to inclusion for me.
Mm-hmm. Are there any personal or like financial markers to you that say like, now I know I'm successful?
Right now, I'm still in the very early stages of my career as, with my fragrance. I would say that when we sold out within about 6 months of launching. And it's so funny because I was talking to my business partner. I said, imagine if we lowered the price. We could have listened to these people and lowered the price. But guess what? The perfume still sold out. The perfume still got amazing press. The perfume still has amazing reviews online. And we didn't have to cheapen our ingredients, downgrade our packaging, any of that, compromise any of the goals that we had into going into this project in order to appease people that were never going to buy it. These people weren't going to buy it whether we sold it at $250 or $25. So the people that are going to appreciate a quality product are the people that purchased it, and they did. And so we ended up relaunching in a smaller size to accompany the larger size bottle that we'd sold in initially. And it's still doing very well. It's selling consistently. Mm-hmm. We're picking up new audiences every day. And there's so many people that are like, I've never bought a nice perfume for myself. This was the first time I bought something really nice. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that makes me so happy.
Yeah.